This island seems like any normal plant island. However, it is not, and it can end up destroying your game. It all starts with a simple comment. Hi, I'm new to My Singing Monsters. Can you please look at my plant island? I'm trying to become top island, along with the BBB ID. But doing so will corrupt your game. Occasionally, some games will be fine, but most won't be so fortunate. Missing textures, glitching music, even being unable to open your game. This is the story of the My Singing Monsters island that can break your game. So how does this happen? Well, let's dive in. Your first thought may be, well, somebody probably just used a hacked account, wrote code to crash the game when loading the island. But this isn't what happened, because a hacked account like that would instantly get blocked by the server. So how do people do this? Well, let's start off with a ground rule. The game uses values for sprites, of which most monsters have a range between 0 and 3. For example, the Toadjammer starts off with a value of 0 for an unleveled new Toadjammer, and can range up to a 3 for a level 15 or higher Toadjammer. The size values a monster can have is when it's bigified. When a monster is bigified, its current number is doubled, and that's where the problem comes in. If a sprite gets too big, it will lag the game. By using an external tool called EndSwitch, we can modify the size of this Toadjammer, but if we make it too big, the emulator will lag. Although MSM isn't a super power-intensive game, if you were to have multiple of these gigantic monsters, then whatever device you would go on would see that there's a big surge of power, and it would go, oh, well that's a mighty greedy app, and shut it down in efforts to not crash the whole system. Remember what I said about bigifying and how it doubles the value? Well, that means you can make this giant monster even larger. At this point, you can barely see it. But why was my screen yellow then? Well, we'll get into that in just a moment. But as I said, a hacked account modified with an external tool would get flagged. So how would someone do it? Well, there's a somewhat obscure glitch in My Singing Monsters that allows a value to be switched. It's more commonly known by the glitch that lets you change monsters into their rare versions or change objects into webboxes. This glitch can also be used for size as well. You see, to try to break this game as much as possible, these accounts wanted to find the best monster for this, and they didn't have to think about it for too long. The webbox, one of the largest monsters ever, and it has a lot of animations. It was a perfect storm. By using the before-mentioned glitch, we can get a webbox to a value of 52. This is an enormous monster. To put it into scale, if you were to display the entire thing being as zoomed out as possible in MSM, you would need 14,370 phones. That is huge, but even then, it only lags the game. While it is a lot of lag, how do they completely break your game and crash it? Well, the answer is simple. More webboxes. And surprisingly, the amount you need isn't a lot. You only need 3 to complete the crash. Sure, crashing the game makes sense, but how does it corrupt textures? Well, every monster, decoration, island, menu, etc. is stored in a slot, but the webbox gets so large that the webbox slot can't hold all the data values, and it starts overflowing into others. Because these textures are being fed data that shouldn't exist, it completely destroys that slot. And the more webboxes, the more damage is done. If there are enough, the game will become unusable because the values have overflowed into the functions of the game itself. While you can delete your game and then re-download it, unfortunately, all of your progress will go with it too. I made this video to hopefully spread awareness and even catch the attention of Big Blue Bubble so they can make a patch for this. But until that happens, just remember to be cautious of these messages, or you could lose your game. And maybe some of your time when you realize this is an April Fool's video, like if you got fooled.